22 episodes in, everyone. We're in the final day of this week's Neo Reality Collective Pop Culture News Talk. And not that much news as like yesterday, but I'm expecting still a little sizable episode. And there was a piece of news I forgot to talk about yesterday, but let's get into it. So it seems that Jane Foster's actress, Natalie Portman, may have revealed a major spoiler for the Love and Thunder movie Thor. And it was announced that and she said this in an interview, say, I can't tell you that much. I'm really excited. I'm starting to train to get muscles. If there can be all these female superheroes, the more than they are the better it is. I'm trying to think. It's based on the graphic novel of the Mighty Thor. She's going through cancer treatment and is a superhero on the side. This is referencing the storyline where Jane Foster had cancer for a time and then became powerful with the Mighty Thor, and then after War of the Realms, she became the Valkyrie. Yeah, it's all that complicated. So there's so in the Mighty Thor comics, Thor is deemed unwielding wielding Mjolnir. Jane Foster eventually takes on the legendary weapon and transforms into the hero, but there's a price. She's simultaneously battling cancer, and the transformation rids her of her body of the chemotherapy treatments. So each time she becomes Mighty Thor, she actually worsens her health once going back to Jane. So, yeah, this battle with cancer and this potential route they're going for with Love and Thunder does look to be pretty dark if they are going with this angle. Like, the director never confirmed it, said plot would be in his movie, but yeah, Natalie Portman's comments seem to indicate that, yeah, that is the case. Uh, so yeah, this is going to be an uphill battle for Jane Foster. Yeah, that's going to be pretty dark, I think. So, yeah, and along the way, there has become a frosty reception for the upcoming New Japan Pro Wrestling president Takumi Obari. Sorry, I'm sorry if I um, you know, yeah, I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Apparently Harold Meiji, after he had resigned, was reportedly rubbed some people the wrong way during his time as the president, and many in the company were pleased to see him go. But they are seemingly unhappy with his successor, though. Dave Meltzer reported on Wrestling Observer newsletter that many privately did not welcome the news of the appointment, even though he had been the heir apparent for some time. Meltzer noted that wrestlers and longtime employees find it difficult to trust and respect presidents with no prior experience of working in professional wrestling, as they consider them to be amateurs. This affected his standing amongst wrestlers, as he was the only a wrestling fan before being appointed New Japan Pro Wrestling president, and the new one suffers from the same suspicions. Having spent much of his career as a director of Telegraph and Telephone, I refuse to pronounce the first name of the company old name. So, yeah, like I said, this is the reason why I keep bringing up why some people say New Japan Pro Wrestling will never work with Impact, because they are very traditional in their viewpoint. It's like, look, like this indicates everything. Like, if you told them, hey, there's this guy, he's not a wrestler, they will not like it. They will think, well, how do we know we can trust you? And whatnot. But that's it. It's a very traditional viewpoint. And it's like that traditional viewpoint back then where wrestlers were told you're only a wrestler and you stay a wrestler. You couldn't be anyone else. You couldn't be a producer. You couldn't be a booker. You couldn't be this or that because fear, paranoia, or because they're not smart enough. But I digress. This whole situation on that front now, it looks like the new president will be having that problem potentially, and which kind of sucks, honestly, because I feel like we should give him a chance, especially if we're getting paranoia thoughts of hoping that he becomes the leading bridge for New Japan Pro Wrestling and AEW. I feel like they haven't done anything horrible to Okada, so yeah. In fact, there have been tweets coming out from an Instagram post from the Young Bucks, Colt Cabana, and Orange Cassidy, all alluding to New Japan Pro Wrestling and suggesting that, yeah, there's going to be something big going on soon with this new leadership. So, Best of the Super Juniors, Orange Cassidy. We're probably going to get something at the near the end of the year, probably. Let's hope. But it's going to be insane all around, and I'm looking forward to every moment of it. And let's see how this new president handles the responsibilities along with earning the people's trust and move on. So, Kevin Owens reveals in an interview that last year at some point I was going back to NXT. It was all in motion. It was going to happen, and then it didn't. To say that's the thought that crossed my mind would be an understatement, but I would tell you right now that that is not the case anymore. That's not where I'm at anymore. Now I want to be on Raw or be on SmackDown and just fight like hell to create some memorable moments for everyone. That's all I want at this point. So you want to be in catering. Got it. So Kevin Owens said the NXT is not including the draft, so yeah, that didn't help much. So he says, I think there's a chance hopefully to get that opportunity to get a fresh start. I don't know what it is about me. I feel like I give it my all. I deliver every time on the air, but for some reason I feel like I'm always end up in a situation where I can always use a fresh start after a little while. I always try my best to do that, but so it's always helped to get a new platform. Here I am again 1 year later, and last year I was so desperate to move to Raw, and I got moved to Raw. Now I'm pretty desperate to move to SmackDown because for some reason I don't feel like things are working out for me on Raw. Maybe it'll be better on SmackDown, but at this time last year, I didn't think things were working out for me on SmackDown. I thought Raw was maybe the place. So essentially, Kevin Owens is saying, I hate it here. I'm not having fun. I need to find somewhere else to go. And then I go to that place. I'm still not satisfied for some reason. So, yeah, there were plans clearly for him to come back. Like, it did seem to be set in motion when he participated in the War Games event of last year. But I'm thinking to myself, like, NXT and AEW's Little War, I'm surprised Vince didn't go for it because it was like he wants to cripple AEW so bad. Kevin Owens would be a guy to put in. But, yeah. In fact, what is Kevin even doing on SmackDown? Was he drafted to SmackDown? Because today's SmackDown, but, one thing I do know that, that Kevin Owens, a Raw guy, is now feuding with Bray Wyatt, which I'm pretty sure is not going to end well. But, yeah, so it's like, it feels like Kevin Owens is in a lose-lose situation. If this doesn't work here, then he'll go over here, and if it doesn't work there, then he'll go back to that area, and then it's like, and also the part where he feels like he's always ending up in a situation where he could always use a fresh start. Now big conspiracy talk, but do you think it has to do with that incident where Jericho revealed that Vince told him and Kevin Owens that you have the worst match in WrestleMania history when Bret Hart versus Vince exists? Yeah, you think that might have damaged his confidence to the point that now he feels like he can't seem to be compatible with himself again? Like, yeah. Like, I would have loved it more if he was still back on NXT because clearly this is not working anymore, and I'm just wondering what's next for him on that front. But oh man. So yeah, Kevin Owens seems to be doing all right. Yeah. So yeah, yeah, big news on the Xbox Series X. Apparently, there were rumors going around, saying that Xbox Series X is hotter than the Xbox One X. But the executive department of Microsoft said it isn't that much hotter than the Xbox One X, according to their public press release. And even though you had Jeff saying that he was getting a lot of chatter on Beastcast, he said it was toasty, and that's exactly what it was. I've read stories that are using the Beastcast segment to support claims the Series X was a heat problem, and I would disagree making that assumption. And let's see the rest of his tweet. If you're connected with a story you reading saying 1 terabyte expansion drive appeared to burn my hand, you are of course perfectly welcome to watch the full Beastcast sequence starting here. Hot to the touch? Yes, but clearly did not burn my hand. And a full preview of the video of the Series X will be coming soon, where I will cover my entire experience in more detail. Thank you, and stay tuned. So this is what Jeff, I can't pronounce his own name, so I'm not going to try, said this, and then Microsoft, I believe says that, believes that, and Microsoft says that that's not the case, and there's all this stuff, and now it's like, we'll have to see when the console launches. Like, there is a giant fan in there, so like I said, we'll have to see when the console launches and judge it for ourselves if it burns your hand or anything. Coming soon to 2021 for the 25th anniversary of the Resident Evil series, there will be a manga coming out next year titled Resident Evil Infinite Darkness. Yeah, and it's going to be, it was announced with Tokyo Pop announcing it, OGN, tying into the upcoming Resident Evil Infinite Darkness CG series. The Resident Evil video game series focused on operators trying to survive a series of escalating zombie outbreaks. Okay, you get that point. But, it was announced during New York Comic Con's Metaverse event. And the founder and CEO said this: "I'll never forget back to the beginning of my career when as a young correspondent for an American gaming publication, I interviewed Capcom's game director before the first game's release. He and his research and development team were so excited to bring cinematic horror storytelling into the video game world. And now we at Tokyo Pop can contribute to the incredible franchise built on the original vision. It's a dream come true. We're very excited to be teaming up with Tokyo Pop," according to Senior Vice President of TMS Entertainment USA Incorporated, "to expand the world of the Resident Evil Infinite Darkness. We can't wait to see what horror adventures await Leon and Claire in the graphic novel adaptation. No details on the creative team have been announced yet. We're talking about promising to reveal details in the near future, at a future date. Comic, manga, and whatnot. I'm not much of a manga guy. I've tried my hand at a couple of them, but I just don't, I'm not used to that format's reading style. So sadly, I don't think I'll be able to read it unless I read it online digitally. So take of that what you will." Insomniac Games has announced on their Twitter that we are pleased to announce that the Miles Morales PS5 game and Miles Morales PS4 have gone gold and will be sneaking to your hearts globally on November 12th. So, yeah, and they accompanied it with the goofy Spider-Man cartoon from the 60s. That was the infinite source material of the Spider-Man pointing at Spider-Man meme and Spider-Man at Spider-Man's desk meme. So, yeah. Yeah, so be excited for that. Be excited for Miles Morales. Let's see where this game takes us. Hope it's pretty good. It's by Insomniac, so would be awesome. And Cyberpunk. Okay. So there was apparently a debate going on between Cyberpunk's future. So Cyberpunk is on a time crunch now. They're on a crunch period. The game's gone gold, yes, but they're working on the big day one patch. However, Cyberpunk developers are saying that they that apparently on Game Informer show, Liana Rupert goes into detail. Previous claim that CD Projekt imposed a mandatory 6-day week thing with developers, saying that from all the stuff we were talking about a few days ago. However, Rupert goes on to say that from what I understand, it was a mass majority agreement to the 6-day work week. So Rupert stresses there is a big difference between American and Polish work cultures, and that no one I spoke to over there saw it as crunch. So, how do I best explain this? I heard this, but how do I explain this delicately? Crunch is crunch. And the idea of they're saying, oh, the developers had the choice in it. Like, Jim Sterling brings this up a lot in his videos, where he says, okay, that's not really a valid reason. There's a huge set of doubt in it, because the people in charge dictate your future. So really, is it really your choice, or is it more like a, oh, I'm making it feel like it's my choice, even though it really isn't? Yeah. Hearing that didn't really help reassure things. In fact, I would be like saying, okay, America and Polish culture seems to be very similar in that regard. But yeah, what can you do in that front? What can you really do with that? So, remember EA Motive, the game developers that were behind the One and Done Squadrons game? So they're working on several unannounced projects and saying that they have several unannounced projects in the pipeline, according to the post, to saying to empower players to create, experiment, live, and share their unique stories. IGN spoke to Mo GM Patrick Klaus, who have had the blog post and got more details of the studio's outlook and future project, including its dedication to developing games that are focused on the players. We have several different projects in the works. Unfortunately, they are undisclosed, so there's very little I can share right now. What I can tell you is there's a lot of ambition going on in the earlier success of Star Wars Squadron in the studio, a lot of appetite to innovate. Naturally, what this is, I don't know. I'm hoping it's more Star Wars content, but I get the feeling that's not going to be the case, especially since they're not making more DLC content for Star Wars Squadron, since it's one and done. Oh, by the way, Amazon's Crucible game is shutting down just months after its release date on May 20th. Yeah. Shutting down on November 9th, Amazon's free-to-play team shooter Crucible is shutting down just months after its launch in May 20th. Yeah. The team made a list of features that were meant to enhance the player experience, and with the exception of custom games, which is slated to arrive in the coming days, well, no. It completed them all. However, after shipping those features and evaluating the feedback paired with the data collected, the difficult choice to discontinue development was made. That evaluation led us to a difficult decision. We'll be discontinuing development of the game. We very much appreciate our fans have rallied around our efforts, and we loved seeing your responses to the changes we made over the last few months. But ultimately, we did not see a healthy, sustainable future ahead of Crucible. We'll be transitioning our team to focus on New World and other projects for Amazon games. So naturally, you would be like, okay, so what happened to all the microtransaction purchases? So he mentioned that those who play Crucible and made purchases, full refunds will be given, and more information can be found on the support page. Credit purchases will also be disabled shortly. So, yeah, custom games will still live on until noon PST on Monday, November 9th, 2020. After that, the gates of Crucible will be closed forever. Yeah, I haven't played Crucible, so I don't know much about the game. I didn't even know there was an Amazon game out. But yeah, if they had said that we're keeping the money and not doing anything and whatnot, that would have really irated everyone. But Amazon was like, nope, we have enough money. We even got a Lord of the Rings show in production. So I said we just give the money back. So yeah, so you can check out on the support page to see more about that. So Marvel's Avengers game, which I have recently published a new video on my YouTube channel. Yeah, so apparently it's diminishing the player population. However, the Crystal Dynamics studio head Scott Amos has said he's confident that players will return to Marvel's Avengers game with new missions and modes promised to arrive in the weeks ahead. So this is what he had to say. We have a number of new content pieces coming in the few weeks ahead, including a totally new Warzone mission type called the Tachyon Rifts, a new outpost that's jumping off a point for new story missions in the future. An AIM's cloning route, which requires a coordinated high-level group of 4 players to beat with new top-end loot rewards for finishing it. He also touched on the forthcoming heroes, Kate Bishop and Clint, aka Hawkeyes, who will arrive in the near future. These new operations pick up right from where the main reassemble campaign ended in the core game, and will propel the overall world story forward with new mysteries and villains, as well as new multiplayer content. as well as new missions, modes, and whatnot. He noted that loot distribution and quality of life features are on the way to address feedback from players. We are confident that we'll see PC players, as well as those on Xbox and PS4, return to the game as we are adding exciting new late game content and just demonstrate that we continue to be focused on improving the game. So, yeah, yeah, I'm not sure about the full details on that, but I'm hoping for it. I'm hoping for it. I'm enjoying the story at least. I haven't played the multiplayer stuff yet, but we'll see when I get there. We'll see. So, I'm at least glad they're still trying to make this thing work. And now it's been announced Microsoft is reportedly bringing xCloud to iOS in 2021 via a direct browser-based solution. So Microsoft is reportedly working on a direct browser-based solution that will allow players to bring its cloud gaming service, previously known as Project xCloud, to iPad and iPad OS devices in 2021. So, as reported by Business Insider and The Verge, Xbox Phil Spencer revealed the news during a recent internal all-hands meeting, and that we will absolutely end up on iOS, iPhones, and iPads with Game Pass. The newly announced Amazon Luna may hint at Xbox's alleged plan that it will bypass App Store and being able to be playable through the iOS Safari. It will not be a native app. Yeah, I do not know about that, honestly. I really don't know about that. Um, yeah, I don't. I don't know. I really don't know. So Keanu Reeves, yeah, the guy who got yelled by breathtaking and rewarded him with a pre-order exclusive of their collector's edition. Yeah, he has a comic still going on, and he goes and spills the secret origins of the Berserker comic. And oh man, this was announced during New York Comic Con. In fact, there's a ton of New York Comic Con 2020 news. James Tyrion talks about why and how Batman has to change, and part of this whole defund Batman project that's been rumored. Scott Snyder talks about death metal and about how it's not erasing your mistakes, even though it's a. I think the biggest mistake should be mentioning that we broke time itself, so we need to fix that. So yeah, fix that, please. Like, yeah, fix that. Also, Ryan Otterly, I'm pretty sure I butchered that name wrong, revealed on Twitter that he has decided to jump off the Amazing Spider-Man comic, who was the lead artist of it since the whole thing launched back in 2018. Now, what would drive such a popular artist who's a superstar or and whatnot? Was there a huge controversial event? Was there a scandalous reveal that will change the fate of the industry? Will there be a Marvel editorial company-wide schism between rival factions that will bring it to its knees? Nope, he's leaving because he feels like it. Okay. He revealed on Twitter, I decided to jump off of Amazing Spider-Man. It just comes down to me simply wanting to work on other projects. Amazing Spider-Man was my first comic ever I bought as a kid. It was like I thought it was the best superhero ever made. And then Marvel said we had to keep him an adult, but still be a teenager with teenager storylines and act like a dumbass. And make deals with Mephisto, to save his dying aunt constantly. So yeah, I think that might be it. So his last issue is going to be Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man issue 49, aka issue number 850. Yeah. So look forward to that, everyone. I haven't been reading the Spider-Man books. I'm just not interested anymore. So think of that what you will. Image Comics says the Department of Truth #2 gets 50,000 orders. That's a pretty big number. And we don't know the full details about this. It just got 100. Like Department of Truth got, despite over 100,000 orders, we're going to go ahead and whatnot. And now it's heard is getting 50,000 copies. Yeah. Uh, yeah, it's kind of surprising. Like it mentions how, and Bleeding Cool mentions with most hit series in the industry launching at 50K before taking a nosedive into 20K, a territorial lower. So it went down by half, and it's hopefully going to stay consistent. Hopefully, hoping it goes back up, but we'll see. Uh, it's kind of awesome. It's really kind of awesome to see that. And Robert Kirkman's Invincible Amazon Prime TV show will cover Invincible's 1 to 13 of the comic. So, yeah, Amazon got this license and it was announced that, yeah, it's going to cover the first 13 issues of Invincible. So, look forward to that. I have not read Invincible, so, yeah, I'm not pretty sure I'm the best guy to talk about this stuff yet. I've not read the comic, so I have no knowledge of it. Westworld star Luke Hemsworth has expressed an interest in joining his brother Thor, Chris Hemsworth, in the MCU as Wolverine. What? Yeah. He says. He said this. I learned to draw through comic books, copying comic books since I was about 10 years old. Spawn was a big one for. I really loved Tom McFarlane's Spawn and then Batman. I would have fought Robert Pattinson for the continent. And Wolverine, I'm like, come on, just pass them on, mate. Let's give it another Aussie. I'll have to grow some chest hair, but I'm ready for Wolverine. Valerie! So, yeah. And he's on Westworld, so let me see what Luke Hemsworth looks like because I haven't watched that show in a while. So let me double check Luke Hemsworth to see if he could be Wolverine. I can't see it yet. So we'll have to see because actors can transform themselves to look completely different. So remember that movie Don't Breathe? Yeah, apparently there was a sequel in production and it just finished shooting before anyone knew production had started. Yeah, Stephen Lang came out and announced that I'm wrapped a splendidly rugged shoot. Thank you, Belgrade. All health and safety protocols adhered to letter. Well done, all. So, yeah, Stephen Lang, star of Don't Breathe, always had just finished shooting and no one knew it was in production. Okay, that's amazing nowadays. So Hulu's animated Marvel series Modark, I'm pretty sure I pronounced that wrong, revealed that Marvel gave them the green light to use the X-Men characters for the upcoming adult stop motion animated series. Woo! So this is what they go on to say during Hulu's presentation of the show at New York Comic Con, as part of which first clips were revealed. I could not believe that Marvel Tour Box stuff they let us play with, Oswald said at around the 17-minute mark. We pitched a couple of characters, like some even in the X-Men universe. We were like, I don't know if they're going to say yes to this. And they're like, yeah, go ahead. He continued, there were a couple that Joe and I especially were like, oh, I don't think they realized what they just said yes to. As such, he and Bloom wrote backups in case Marvel decided they actually couldn't use a particular character. However, that did not happen. We got them, Oswald assured. Of course, this is probably in relation to, the rebirth of the X-Men, especially after Disney bought Fox. So, yeah, this is part of the reintroduction, the rebirth of the X-Men universe into the MCU, Marvel, and all these projects, trying to give them a new push and everything. And I'm just left wondering to myself, really? Like, you really are that obsessed that it took Disney buying everything? And if here's the thing, I was hearing Dawn of X, Docs, Hawks, Pox, and it's like when Hickman's era ends, it's gonna probably be called Fox because edgy. So yeah. Oh god. Also, Ewan McGregor has confirmed that Obi-Wan Kenobi will start production this coming March for 2021 for the Disney Plus series. Yay! So, when he was also asked about how, if he felt the need to more closely resemble Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ben Kenobi, original actor Alec Guinness, who was 63 when the original film hit theaters, McGregor replied, "Yes. The thing about doing them in the first place when I was much younger was trying to imagine Alec Guinness. How would he play these scenes as a younger guy? It led me to watch a lot of his early work, which I hadn't seen before. Brilliant movies, wonderful films that he's been in. This time I'm much closer in age to him, and it will be my chance to try and sort of meet him somewhere. I love Alec. I never got to meet him, but I love him through his work, and it's a great honor to sort of try and pretend to be him." So yeah, Kenobi's set to be between episodes 3 and 4 and focus on what's going on Obi-Wan's doing. One of the rumors I was hearing at the time is that one of the plans when the show went through delays was that one of the rumored plans was Darth Krayt was supposed to show up before he turned Sith and was a Jedi as part of the Tusken Raiders who survived Order 66 and then led to lead the Tusken Raiders and challenged Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan beats him and then lets him go, which, probably was a stupid idea. So the continuing saga of the Jedi hypocrisy and idiocy continues to lure the world. So the Game of Thrones creators of the show didn't actually believe the coffee cup report. Thought it was a prank. Oh man. Like this was what it was said. I couldn't believe it. When we got the email about it the next day, I honestly thought someone was pranking us because there had been things before where people were like, "Oh, look at that plane in the ground," and somebody had photoshopped it in. I thought, there's no way there's like a coffee cup in there. Then when I saw it on TV, I was like, how did I not see that? I sat it. I seen that shot 1,000 times and we're always looking at the faces and how the shot sat with the other shots on either side. I felt like we were participants in a psychological experiment, and like where you don't see the gorillas running around in the background because you're counting the basketballs. Weiss went on to say, every production that's ever existed have things like this. You can see the crew member in Braveheart, there's an actor wearing a wristwatch in Spartacus, but now people can rewind things and everyone's talking about each other in real time. So one person saw a coffee cup, rewound it, and then everybody did. Oh, that's yeah, they were talking about how the incident last year, they didn't believe it at first. Like, this is the internet, so you would expect that. But at the same time, AJ Styles came out and said, "Oh, I didn't know about the Twitch stuff they were trying to do till you all told me. Vince didn't tell anyone." I should say that's a problem, but it's not. So Apple TV is extending free subscriptions into early 2021. I don't know why. I still do not know. Yeah, it just talks about the details regarding the Apple TV Plus. And like how users who bought the item since September 2019 and activated those accounts between November 1st to 2021, January 31st, get the extension through February 28th. Users who activate during February are within the extension period, and those who have been using the annual TV plans automatically get credited in annual plans due to renew between November and January 2021, renew in 2021 February for free. Does it say why though? No, it doesn't give a reason. I initially thought it was going to be because of the COVID crisis or something like that, and they were being generous and everything. Um. So our last piece of news in this edition: Green Lantern's HBO series. And one of the big news that was being talked about, according to Deadline, Alan Scott will show up in the Green Lantern series and will be gay, just like in his Earth 2 comics, in his updated main timeline, and an all-new Corps member. I was thinking to myself, okay, I get Alan. I know they're trying to do something different with Alan Scott, but at the same time, don't certain characters exist because Alan Scott was straight. Didn't he have kids? And they're popular characters. I keep thinking Jade is one of his kids. I don't know, but yeah. So Alan Scott's gonna be in this, and it's part of the updated timeline and part of the. But also, I'm excited to hear this. Guy Gardner, Simon Bays, Sinestro, Kilowog. Okay, they're to be expected. I am hyped for Jessica Cruz though, because Jessica Cruz is damn awesome. Damn it. And the Green Lantern series will be written by Seth, whatever name Smith, from the Lego Batman movie, and Mark Arrow's part of the Arrow show and 2011's Green Lantern movie. Oh dear. And he will also serve as showrunner for the HBO Max series. Jeff Johns will serve as executive producer because this is the guy that redefined the Green Lantern mythos. And producer Greg announced he's saying this in 2019. In our promises to be our biggest TV show, DC show ever made, we will be going to space for the Green Lantern TV series. But I can't reveal anything more about that. So, yeah, one of the two, there are two names, however, missing from this. Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart. Considering they like to push Hal Jordan in as the most iconic Green Lantern of them all, and then there's Jon Stewart, who I consider to be more iconic because I knew him first before I even knew who Hal Jordan was. In fact, here's the thing. I knew Jon Stewart first. I knew Kyle Rayner second. Alan Scott third. Hal Jordan last. And fourth. Then Jessica Cruz, Simon Bays were later introductions in the New 52 era. But, yeah. Like, they don't know. So, like, they don't know who exactly. I don't know what's gonna happen to those two. Like, are they gonna show up in another show because they're more popular? But like I said, I am mostly hyped for Jessica Cruz. She's awesome. Probably because I have a similar struggle of anxiety and depression, except not through traumatic incidents like that. Mine was school related, and I refuse to talk about that because if I talk about it, I will go crazy. Don't fuck with me. Okay, yeah, enough about the me trying to go mad thing. So yeah, Alan Scott and Guy Gardner, Jessica Cruz, Simon Bass, Sinestro, and Kilowog, they're all here. They're all joining the party. Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart, they're probably off somewhere off in the cosmos. Hal Jordan's probably hanging out with that Pink Lantern girl. Well, and Jon Stewart's hanging out with a hot girl. So, yeah, we're probably predicting that. So, yeah, that's about it for this day of episodes. This was this week's editions of Neo Reality Collective, and this was Friday's edition. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and donate. Stay tuned for more. Stay tuned out there, and let's see what goes on down the road, and I'll see you all next week.